Yes, children. Let us start with the next chapter, hydrocarbons. Okay, we have seen the various concepts of organic chemistry in the previous chapter regarding IUPAC nomenclature, then fission of a covalent bond, homolytic fission, what is it, heterolytic fission, what it gives, all that we saw. Okay, now let us proceed further. We are going to prepare alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes in this chapter, and we are going to see the properties of these three. Okay, now let's start with preparation of alkanes. Now, I have shown here briefly what are all the different sources from which an alkane can be prepared. It can be prepared from unsaturated hydrocarbons, that is alkenes and alkynes. It can be prepared from alkyl halides. RX is alkyl halide, you know it. It can also be prepared from sodium salt of acid, RCOONA, that is sodium salt of acid. And it can also be prepared from another reagent which you are not familiar with so far, which is called as Grignard reagent. Okay, so I'll tell you in detail about what a Grignard reagent is. Okay, now we are going to see all these things in detail one by one, right? Okay, now this is the picturization of preparation of alkanes. Okay, this if you know it, and once you prepare yourself for each and every method and you see this picturization, you will be able to write any reaction. Okay, this will give you recollection of the whole topic. Okay, now let us see one by one. I told you from unsaturated hydrocarbons you can prepare. Now these two are unsaturated hydrocarbons. This is ethene, this is ethyne. This on hydrogenation. What is this called? This is called hydrogenation because hydrogen is added. That is called as hydrogenation. You have studied in 10th class also. So hydrogenation of alkene in the presence of nickel or platinum or palladium as catalyst will give you the corresponding alkane. So you start with ethene, you will get ethane. This is ethane. Same way, you start with ethyne. Then initially you add one hydrogen, you get ethene. This further it will take one more hydrogen to give you ethane. Okay. So here ethyne to ethane 2 moles of hydrogen are required, and here only 1 mole of hydrogen is required. So this is called as hydrogenation process, simple addition of hydrogen. Now what is the next one? Let us see now how we can prepare from sodium salt of acid. You know very well that RCOOH, this is acid. Now when I replace this hydrogen by sodium, you call it as sodium salt of acid. Okay. Now we start with sodium salt of acid. You can even start with potassium salt of acid. And you are treating this with soda lime. CaO is lime. NaOH is soda. Okay. So you are treating it with soda lime when you will get alkane, and the byproduct that is formed is sodium carbonate. Now this soda lime, in what ratio it is taken? It is taken in the ratio of 3:1, and the reaction is conducted at a temperature of 630 Kelvin. Now what is happening here? Now see, I have taken a typical example, CH3COONA, that is sodium acetate plus NaOH. Now what is happening, you see? Now right from the CO till NaO, this is getting liberated. It is getting released in the form of Na2CO3, Na2CO3. Okay, Na2CO3 is coming out as a byproduct, and this hydrogen joins with CH3 group, so you will get CH4. Okay, so what is happening here? This CO2 in the presence of alkali will get released in the form of the corresponding salt of it, that is sodium carbonate. Is that clear? Since carbon dioxide is released in the process in the form of Na2CO3, the process is called as decarboxylation, that is carbon dioxide removal, that is decarboxylation. Now you may ask, only NaOH is used in the process. Why is CaO added? What is the role of CaO here? CaO keeps NaOH dry. NaOH, you know, it has a very high capacity to absorb moisture. This sodium hydroxide is highly deliquescent. You call it as deliquescent. Anything which has the capacity to absorb moisture is called deliquescent substance. So this CaO makes it dry. it does not allow NaOH to absorb moisture because CaO has greater capacity to absorb moisture, right? So it will not allow NaOH to absorb moisture. That is why CaO is added. It keeps the sodium hydroxide dry, and that is a function of CaO here. So that is decarboxylation. Now here you can prepare methane. Now supposing I have increased the chain length. Supposing if I take say CH3, CH2, COONA and I treat it with say soda lime, then what I will get? This part, you add hydrogen from here and you will get the corresponding alkane. So whatever is the sodium salt you are taking, this alkyl part along with this hydrogen will be the corresponding alkane as the product. Okay, that is what you have to understand. And the CO2 is getting liberated, okay, in the form of sodium carbonate. So this is the basic idea about decarboxylation process. Now the same decarboxylation can also be done in a different way. What is that? This is by Kolb's electrolysis. Now in this Kolb's electrolysis, what is happening? See, RCONA, that is sodium salt of acid, it is electrolyzed. You know, an aqueous solution is electrolyzed when the products formed are RR, NaOH plus hydrogen plus CO2. Now how these products are obtained? Let us see the mechanism of this reaction. Now I have given a simple example for this. Now what is the mechanism? This CH3COONA, it is two molecules used here. Now first of all, in the presence of water, it will ionize because it is a salt. Okay. Now when it ionizes, what you get? You get acetate ion and Na plus ion. And water that is present in the medium, that will also ionize as H plus and OH minus. Now you know very well, when it is subjected to electrolysis, the anode will attract the negatively charged ion because anode is positively charged, cathode is negatively charged. Anode is positive, cathode is negative. So towards the anode, the negatively charged ion will move, and towards the cathode, the positively charged will be moving. Okay. Okay, now this CH3COO minus. Now whenever you have a negative charge, I told you, it denotes a pair of electron. Okay. Now that is what I have shown. This negative charge is denoting a pair of electron. And at the anode, what happens? Oxidation takes place. What is oxidation? Loss of electron. Okay. Now each and every acetate ion, it will lose one electron at the anode. So two acetate ions will lose two electrons. ओके तो इन दो में से एक इलेक्ट्रॉन की लॉस हो गई और एक इलेक्ट्रॉन रह गया. ठीक है. दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव गिवन यू एज CH3COO डॉट. दैट मीन्स अ फ्री रेडिकल, एसिटेट फ्री रेडिकल, राइट. दोनों आयंस में से एक एक इलेक्ट्रॉन चला गया और एक इलेक्ट्रॉन रह गया. सो यू आर हैविंग दिस एसिटेट फ्री रेडिकल. Now this acetate free radical is, I told you, free radicals are highly reactive. Now what is happening, you see? Now here this is a pair of electron shared between this carbon and this carbon. Yes? How do you write acetate? You write it like this, isn't it? COO dot. Now this pair of electron, you see? This is between this carbon and this carbon. Okay? Now what happens? This electron and this free electron, it gets shared among themselves and it becomes a double bond. So it becomes CO2 and this CO2 escapes as a gas. Now what is left behind? This electron is left behind. Okay. So that is what I have shown here. Two CO2 molecules will get released and two methyl free radicals will be formed. And these two methyl free radicals आपस में combine होके ethane बना देंगे. These free radicals will share a pair of electron and you will get ethane. Right? Now at the cathode, what is happening? At the cathode, this H plus. You try to recollect your memory when we studied this chloralkali process last year, when there was race between Na plus and H plus. Which won the race by going towards the cathode? It was H plus. Remember, it is smaller, can move fast. So this H plus is reaching the cathode first and will take up the electrons lost from the anode and will become molecular hydrogen. Okay, so when water ionizes, this OH minus that is formed, and when this sodium acetate is ionizing, Na plus that is formed, they will combine together to form NaOH. Okay, so now you have explained the formation of alkane, formation of NaOH, formation of hydrogen, and the formation of CO2 in the process. Is that clear? So that is Kolb's electrolysis. Okay, what are the products? Alkane, NaOH, hydrogen, and CO2. Is that clear? Now alkane that is formed, how do you determine which alkane is formed? Now whichever sodium salt you are starting with, in that you are having one R and then COONA. This R part will become double. This R part, that is the alkyl group, will get doubled in the product. Is that clear? So CH3 is getting doubled. That is why you are getting ethane. Supposing you start with C2H5COONA, then that C2H5 will get doubled. So you will get butane. Is that clear? So this is how Kolb's electrolysis process is working. You need to know the mechanism. Now, C2H5COONA I was asking you. So the CH3, CH2 part is going to double. So what you will get? You will get butane. CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This will double. Is that clear? So you will get butane and the other products are common. Okay. Now what you have to remember, this method is not suitable for preparation of methane because you are getting an alkane having double the number of carbon atoms in the from the starting material, the alkyl group that is present, that will get doubled. So methane is having only one single carbon, so you cannot prepare methane by Kolb's electrolysis. And also alkanes having odd number of carbon atoms. You cannot prepare propane, you cannot prepare pentane. Like, why? You are starting with any sodium salt of acid. So this R is going to get double. Now if it is a single carbon, then it is going to give you double the number of carbon atoms. If it is a 2 carbon alkyl group, then it is going to give you C4H10. If it is a 3 carbon C3H7, then it is going to give you C6H14. Okay, so you cannot get an alkane having odd number of carbon atoms by this method. Right? So that is Kolb's electrolysis. Okay.